Yo, what's up, guys? Hey, today I wanted to talk about being too close to the problem. It is something that I had to recognize after being too close to a lot of problems that I had. So, I'm gonna use an example I think everybody can relate to. Some point in your life, you may have had the instance where you had some BO. If you've been around your own BO for a long enough time, you don't smell it so much, right? Until it gets really, really bad. My goal is to go ahead and talk about something so that it doesn't get really, really bad where you start smelling it. But I do want to bring it up that there is a point in this problem where you're too close to it to actually recognize that it's a problem. Now, I use BO because everybody has a body odor. We mask it in different ways. But for me, one of the problems that I had that I was too close to see is my drinking problem. I stopped using heroin and I started drinking because it was socially acceptable. You know, one of the phrases that I was told is, as long as you're not using heroin, it's okay. I took that to an extreme because being an alcoholic is not okay. Two substances, they have similarities in them. So alcohol is also a depressant, just like heroin was. And as I said before, my brain just works very overactively. And for me, I've always learned how to manage that by using a substance. Not a good way to manage it, but it's just the way that I learned how to manage it. So in recovery, I've had to manage my brain overthinking in different ways without substances. When I was really heavy drinking, I probably drank maybe about 4 pints in a day. I'm also a very habitual person. I like routines. So in the morning I get up, go buy me a pint, slam that one, do whatever I needed to do. About midday, go grab me another pint, slam that one, do whatever I needed to do. Right around dinner time, go grab another one, slam that, do whatever I needed to do, and then drink one last pint before I went to bed so I could quote unquote relax. Now, like I said, I'm a functioning addict. That's the way that my body works, that's the way my brain works. So after a couple weeks of doing this, well, you're putting that much liquor into your body without putting too much other stuff into your body. Your pores start to press out, just like with body odor, stuff that's inside of you. For me, what was inside of me mainly was liquor, and I like spiced rum. That was my go-to. I remember this one time that I was ordering some food at a drive-thru, just trying to get something in my stomach because I could feel I had an empty stomach, and I knew if I drank on an empty stomach, I'd throw up more than I'd actually be able to enjoy the feeling. So I'm sitting there in the drive-thru, and the lady hands me my food, and she's like, "Oh, you smell really good." I hadn't been told that in a while, so I was really excited. Like, "Yeah, I use cocoa butter." She's like, "No, you smell like a spice of some sort, but it smells nice." Unfortunately, the spice that she had smelled was mixed in with the cocoa butter, so that's why she thought it smelled good. But all I heard was, "Oh, you smell like liquor." I was too close to the problem, guys, that I didn't recognize that my body was just emitting this odor now. At points in our lives, guys, we have integrated these actions, such as using a substance, whatever it may be, that we no longer recognize it because we've played ourselves so well. By played ourselves, I mean we navigated into it without even knowing it. We've become so habitual in our use that to us, the change in odor, the change in your appearance, the weight loss, the sucked in face, the pale skin, we don't recognize them. It's just like whenever you run into an old friend or somebody that you knew from a duration of time that you haven't seen them. They may look the same, they may not look the same, but you can see those changes, right? To that individual, they probably couldn't see those changes. That's being too close to the problem. So I just want to leave you guys a heads up that if you're being told these things in different ways, because another time I was at the gas station buying me some liquor, of course, And the clerk was like, hold on, let me put this one back. It smells like it's busted. Goes and puts that one back, grabs the other one, comes back. This one smells like it's busted too. I was like, oh, don't worry about it. Because I recognized at that point in time that the clerk wasn't smelling a broken bottle. He was smelling me. I smelled like liquor. I hadn't recognized it, but they could. Being too close to the problem, guys, we don't recognize it. So if you're having continual repetition of something being told to you from different people, different venues, strangers, you might be too close to the problem. Now, if you have somebody that cares about you and that has already forewarned you about it and you're ignoring what they said, you might want to take into consideration that they might be right. You might have a problem that you haven't recognized yet, and that's okay because you can get too close to the problem to recognize it. I want you to know, though, that if it is a problem, it's going to pop up and it's going to show itself. How that happens, you might get off light just by having somebody tell you and actually sit you down. Those are called interventions, right? It might be something extreme where you might be thinking that you're okay, hop in a vehicle, get pulled over. At that point, the officer smells you, can see that you're under the influence, and then you're getting told that you have a problem by a judge who's now going ahead and mandating that you go through a substance use program, or that you're going to go and serve time for, doing some sort of crime. Either way, though, guys, the problem is going to pop up. So my ask is that you don't get too close to it and that you be open to looking at what you're doing holistically. Look at your past couple weeks. What habits have you developed? Write it out sometimes. That makes it easier to get a visual. And be honest with yourself. Because if you could address a problem before someone else has to address that problem, you might save yourself some heartache. You might save someone else some heartache. You might save yourself some trouble. You might save someone else some trouble too. At the end of the day, though, it's your choice. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to kind of guide you, give you a heads up. Because you're the one that's either going to survive and thrive, or you're going to crash and burn. It's the way that this story ends when you're actively using. Not here to try to say that what I'm doing is anything great, because I shouldn't have even got into that lifestyle in the first place. But I do know that there's plenty of individuals out there that are struggling with it, and you may not have been told this so directly. So let me let you know, it can be okay. There is hope. Recovery is possible. But you need to be real about the problems that you have. And if you're too close to those problems, and start picking up on these hints that you might be getting. At the end of the day, guys, if I hadn't recognized these problems that I had, I wouldn't have recognized that I had no halo.